All right, here, everybody. It's David Kramer, the Critical Thinking Christian, and today I was thinking about doing this video for a long time. Uh, I'm not the type of guy to complain, whine, woe is me, that kind of stuff. I think, even though I do think it's good to get shit off your chest and work through past traumas and stuff like that, because it's good to get free of shit. Yeah, if you're carrying a weight around with you, and I've been carrying a weight around with me most of my life. I have made certain changes in my life, but there's other things in my life that I am trying to work through right now. I mean, got with a guy. Now we're not coaching, but I got with his mentoring thing, and I want to really work through some of this shit. But what I want to talk about is growing up in a Christian family and having your life, emotional and mental trauma that I went through because of a father and a mother who had their ideas of what works based on essentially coming out of uh, bad childhoods and not knowing how to do it. Okay, and don't get me wrong, no parent knows really how to do it. It's a learning process. But uh, you know, from early on in my life as a little kid and all that stuff, I was subject to mostly emotional and mental trauma that went on. My mom came out of a situation where her parents were not. And here's the thing. I looked through my videos to see if I made a video like this, and I didn't see anything. So if I already made a video, the wind's blowing outside, and my door decided to crack open a little bit. But if I did make a video like this, okay, sorry about that, but I didn't see any videos that would have led me to believe that I did. But anyway, mom came out of a situation where her parents were, depression era, and they worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. And she was pushed off essentially to the great grandmother, to her grandmother, not the great grandmother. Nana was my great grandmother, but she was pushed off to her. Uh, and she lived with my mom's uncle and aunt, so they were always at work too, because Depression era people were under the impression you need to work as many hours as possible to make as little as possible, which is what happened. Because at the end of my grandpa's life, he was doing the whole, what do they call it, lottery ticket thing, trying to, scratch off and trying to hope he wins a lot of money because didn't really have a lot at the end of his life. Okay, and that's how work is. It's unless you're financially savvy. I worked with a guy who put the majority of his money in his retirement account, and he retired with over 2 million, between $2 and $3 million. Now, if you're able to do that, great. But most of us are not able to do that. If you're trying to build a house, do remodeling and shit like I did here, yeah, it ain't gonna work. But anyway, she came out of that. She came out of that where they were not there. The mother, my grandmother, told her that she didn't want the kids, and that probably had to do with money. My dad came out of a situation where the father just lost all desire. There was a tornado that came through the area when my dad was born in 1939, and it destroyed some of the farm. And from that point on, that was it. And he was a very cynical, spiteful, vindictive, evil human being. He just loved laughing at other people's pain, which I, coming out of trauma, I would do that too. And sometimes I got to stop myself from doing that because that doesn't help. I mean, all that does is you may have a tiny moment where you feel good, but then you go right back to feeling bad, even worse. But anyway, he came out of that uh, bad situation. The father, his dad took the kids out of school, send them to work, and then they had to give him the paycheck. And it was just pathetic. So he came out of a situation where my dad became obsessed with just work, 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 discipline, discipline, discipline. And I got to work and I got to get better and I can't be like these people. When actually what he did was he became the other side of the coin. Okay. My grandfather was this side, my dad became that side, and pretty much just a disciplinarian, authoritarianism, just control and manipulation. He moved me where he wanted me to go from an early age. Totally destroyed my initiative, my drive. I felt like I was never right about anything. I was always wrong. I was bad. Uh, and we went to church, and we were the fundamentalist evangelical types, and you're bad, you're a sinner, you need to get saved. If you don't get saved, you go to hell, you're going to burn. Just evil. Okay. Money's bad, sex is bad, this is bad, that's bad. You sin and you're really bad even if you think about it. So I was under the you're never right, you're always bad, you're always wrong. Church, you're bad, you're wrong. How many times do you hear yeah, all you people out there, some of you probably ain't even Christian. You're not doing what the Lord wants you to do. Blah, 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 blah. So you're always in a situation. I was in a situation at home where I was on eggshells. I was, it was anxiety. And to the point where you get this anxiety to where, you know, I can't figure out. I became, a child who could not figure out which end was up. Okay. I can't make good decisions. I can't make any decisions. I'm just totally paralyzed. Whenever I think of making decisions, well, not you. You're a dumbass. You're just worthless. I wet the bed until I left home when I was 23. I wet the bed the first night I was in my apartment. And from that point on, I didn't wet the bed anymore. Never thought about why. I never got, introspection. I never thought, why did I do it? Why did it stop? I was just glad it stopped because it was very humiliating. You're already a loser, and then you have that crap, and you're getting picked on in school. You never do anything right at home. Disciplinarian. My dad graduated from using a hand to whip me to a rubber hose, and finally he got to a point where he said to me, "I ain't going to do it anymore because it ain't working." Okay. Never realized he had three fingers pointing back at him, just like with my mom. Now, she didn't agree with some of that stuff, but both of them, for a time, would get me up at night. One would stand on one side, take me to the bathroom. One would stand on one side of me. One would stand on the other side of me. And they try to get me to go to the bathroom because I wet the bed. My fault. Okay. So as a Christian and someone who, you know, what happened? Well, I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend. Okay, there was a girl who liked me in school. I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend because she wasn't a Christian. All right, she was Catholic, so she wasn't a Christian. I'm not allowed to have friends because they're not Christians. But those people that I wanted to have friends with, were the cool kids, the bad guys, okay? But my mom wanted me to have friends with other kids that were not Christian because what? They were either equal on the food chain or lower than me on the food chain. They were the dregs of society, just like me. So she wanted me to have friends with them because they weren't the cool kids. But guess what? They were trying to be cool. Okay, they weren't Christian. They were doing the marijuana and stuff together in their group and the drinking and all that. Uh, but they could never reach that whatever, you know. But yeah, so I grew up with just extreme self-esteem issues. I one of the passages in the Bible that I would think about would be Proverbs. I forget what chapter and verse it is, but it says, "Fathers, provoke not your children to wrath." And my dad provoked me to wrath quite a few times. I remember many times when I was in my late teens of standing out in the yard yelling at him and calling him, his name's Harold, and I'd be like, "Fuck you, Harry, fuck you." And my mom would be standing there yelling, "Just stop it, stop it." And, you know, you think about that and you're going, we're supposed to be Christians. We're supposed to have a example that we set. And guaranteed, here, this is where my grandparents lived, my aunt and uncle. There were neighbors that lived down the road. Okay, there were neighbors that lived back there. They had to hear that. People heard that. And these were some of the things that would bother me. But I always looked at myself as bad, worthless, pathetic. I fell into, you know, when I was a kid, I couldn't have a girlfriend, so I fell into porn. Uh, I found a magazine, a porn magazine in the house. Come on now, Dad. And fell into that, and then of course, boom. I mean, the guilt, the shame. Forgive me, God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that, and then I wouldn't do that for a while. Then boom, I'd fall back in. Well, you're probably not saved. Okay. I got saved. I had my introduction video. I got saved at 12 because I watched the movie A Thief in the Night and it scared the shit out of me. I mean, really? Got to scare the kids? Is that what you do? You know, you might have a blue helmet coming around and taking you off to get your head chopped off. Okay. Well, I need to get saved. You know. My dad would get, you know, there were a couple times where, say, his chickens came home to roost, and I know I ran away, and the cop brought me back. I think it was once or twice, and then my dad wanted to, um, you know, hug me and kiss me, and he was crying, and I wouldn't have none of it as a kid because I'm thinking, what, a week or two, and then you go back to being the same person? Sitting on the chair watching we Saturday or Sunday afternoon, sitting on his chair watching sports or golf or whatever, and he'd put his tongue in his cheek because he was pissed at me, and he would not look at me. He would look straight at the TV, and I'd be thinking, just come on over here and punch me in the face, punch me, do something. I know the one time when I was in like I don't know, 18, 19 years old. I just got up and went out of the house and got in the car and drove off. And when I got home, my mom said he was real worried. He didn't. Where do you think he went? Why did he leave? Hey, are you kidding me? I know I used to say back in the day I was listening to Led Zeppelin and I'd be going to California and I'd say I want to go to California. That would bother him. He knew what he was doing. He knew the type of person he was. I mean, I know I called him when I was out In the when I had my apartment, I called him and asked him. I was drunk, and I asked him why he did it. He said, "Well, I was driven." Uh, yeah, Christianity is, and some people say, "Well, it ain't like that with everybody." No, it ain't. It ain't. I admit, but I lived a life just feeling like a worthless piece of crap in a home that was supposed to be Christian, where we went to church every damn week. And we also went to Wednesday, and we went to, not all the time, but we did go to Wednesday night, if they had a Saturday or whatever, or a Sunday night. And I mean, yeah, and my deconversion came mainly because of how I felt about myself. I looked at my life. I saw the way my life had went and how it was an up and down kind of thing. I mean, I'm trying to be a Christian. I'm praying about stuff. I'm trying to do right. I believe in, what Paul said, that you need to believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. And I looked at my life and I thought, this is really pathetic. And I tried, like I said in videos, life, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Okay, I tried that. Yeah, okay, that didn't work. I would go over it. You're supposed to go over and ask yourself, am I saved? What do I believe? And I would do that a lot. And I'd look at it and go, I believe that. And nothing would happen. Okay. And well, I did get to a point where I felt like I was, but then of course I get to a point where I felt like I wasn't. Okay. You quit doing shit and then you go back to it. Now Christians will say, well, that's how it is. You just gotta, repent and you're gonna fall off or whatever. Some will say, well, I know you're not saved because, if it happened all the time, you're not saved. It's like there are some out there that will even tell you that once you get saved, you don't sin because you're dead to sin. But yeah, I just decided to make a video. Like I said, I am going to be working with somebody and I want to get out of this. I'm 50, I'm going to be 57 this year. I started working on myself in 2019 when I was 52. Uh, and I have got some things straight. My diet, weightlifting, I when I do drink alcohol, it's I don't know, maybe anywhere 5 or 6 beers on a Saturday, which is great because my average used to be 18. I could drink as much as 40. So 18 down to 5 to 8 beers is like, man. So yes, some things worked better than when I was a Christian and prayed about it. But yeah, trauma in Christian families and just what you believe. Just believe you got to give him everything, and he got to do the thinking for you. And Christians will say, "Well, that doesn't mean that." Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Uh, but that's pretty much it. I'm kind of running out of stuff. I want to make my supper, but yeah, I actually see that I've made more progress as a former Christian, as a non-Christian, than I ever did as a Christian, because most of it was just sitting here in my little hole, okay, praying about stuff, not having any results, okay. Now working on stuff, and that's what I want to do. I mean, I want to get free completely. And that's pretty much what I got. I'm done. I'm running out of things to say, so you know, let me know what you think. I mean, one of the things, I gotta admit, with interaction, I'm a loner, and with interaction, I wouldn't mind having more interaction from people. I'm the type that here's the thing. You want to subscribe, subscribe. I have 37 subscribers. I want to thank those subscribers. I'm kind of lax with that. I hope that you're getting something out of this, and that if you're in a transition or whatever, that I'm not a counselor. Okay, I hope that this here can help some of you. Like I said, I am not a give me a hug type person. Okay, all I want to do right now with this is just release, just get it out of there. I have another channel called Kramer Unstuck, and I went over my introspection there. I'm more of a, that channel, I'm coming out, I'm more of an anarchist, so I'm not a red or blue or whatever color or green because, when it comes to politics, I say politics, political, government, you can all go shove it. I got no respect for you. I'm not voting for any of you. I believe that if you don't vote, you got a right to talk. If you vote, you pretty much are just asking for it. It's like walking up to a hornet's nest and smacking the hornet's nest, and then when the hornets come out and sting you, going, "Oh, I didn't want that to happen." Yeah, because they're all the same. If you hate Biden, if you hate Trump, it's just Biden's this side of the coin, Trump's that side of the coin. None of them are worth it. So, I don't want to get into political shit, but I believe that you want to subscribe, you want to like, you want to dislike. You got that right because a constitution says we have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You have the right to make whatever choice. I'm not going to go, hey, buddy, I need you to subscribe, hit that button there, hit the like. Come on, like me. No, you have that right. And I just hope that with what say on that channel, what I say on this channel, can possibly help somebody, one person. Okay. But that's it. I don't know what I'm going to title this. Maybe I'll title this the same thing I titled the other one. Introspection is a way to improve yourself. I don't know. But that's all I got right now. I got to, like I said, make my supper and I got washed down in the washer. I hope the washer's washing it. I got one of them smart washers. It's kind of smart. Sometimes it decides that it's gonna just, that's it. It's gonna wash and then it's not gonna rinse or anything else. So then I gotta go down and play with it. So, but that's it. That's all I got. And until next time, this is Dave Kramer and this Critical Thinking Christian.